Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Over the past 4 or 5 months, I've tried not to look at every possibility of sports starting again because so many things could go wrong. It looked like football was the first one ready to go, even though baseball should have had a head start because of the calendar. Seems baseball is now on its way to coming back. There are so many physical possibilities to mess up football. Still, I look at things and possibly that baseball, football, and basketball will, in fact, complete their regular seasons, which would be 16 football games, and, of course, the playoffs, and then 50 baseball games, and that playoffs, and the playoffs in the NBA, which seems like it's about 1 million of them. I find it hard to believe that there won't be some sort of cancellation and mess this whole thing up somewhere along the line. Mary Kay Cabot is here. We'll talk Browns football. More sports, and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into its 24th consecutive year, soon to be 25 around the 1st of September, and it's seen exclusively, powered by cleveland.com. Mary Kay Cabot is here, and that means it's Thursday night. Mary Kay Cabot has covered the Browns for quite some time as far as the cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Hello, Mary Kay. Welcome to Thursday.
Thanks, Les. How you doing today?
Yeah. All right, we got lots to talk about because since we last saw you, baseball's come into play, and it seems like there might be a problem or two for football. So let's talk about it. First of all, the cancellation of the All-Star game, or not the All-Star game, but the exhibition game down in Canton. Did that come as a surprise to you?
Yeah, I would say it was a little bit of a surprise for them to cancel that this early. You know, that's still almost a couple of months away, August 6th. And I think really it's a sign that they might end up reducing the preseason from 4 games down to 2. It's been discussed, and I think this might kind of pave the way for that. So I was mildly surprised they let that game go between the Steelers and the Cowboys.
With that much time, as you suggest, what do you think happened that made them say, well, let's not work it out, let's just cancel it and double it up next year? Was there something specific that made it tougher to do?
You know, I mean, it's really, you know, it's the first thing on the calendar, and there's so much goes into that weekend, the enshrinement ceremonies, and just trying to get all the logistics worked out for all of that. I just think they felt it was more prudent at this time not to try to pull that whole thing off and to give the enshrinees the kind of weekend that they deserve, to give the game what it also deserves, and to just kind of go to next year on all of that.
And in recent years, they've done such a good job putting the game participants into where there's some significant back and forth between the two teams. I mean, you've got Pittsburgh and Dallas, and that's, first of all, 2 great franchises. But secondly, several participants are going to be enshrined, and that's probably better for them because they won't have to work with all the extracurricular activities here. They'll just move it up a year and double up the size of the class. Could there have been anything else they could have done, or was that about it?
I think they did what they had to do. You know, I think it was the right decision because these things take so long to plan. And again, that is such a big weekend for Canton and for the Hall and for the NFL. And, you know, such a big day, again, for the enshrinees. And, you know, you just don't want to give that short shrift. They deserve their day, and now they will have it. And I really think it was the right thing to do. And I can't think of any other solution. I mean, they really couldn't have pushed it back any further unless they put it into next year.
Sure, and you didn't want empty stands for that. And I was thinking, when they canceled the exhibition game, I'm saying, well, they just had a problem with the paint down there on the field at Fawcett Stadium, or what used to be Fawcett Stadium. And then I realized, no, that wasn't like last year. That was 5-6 years ago. Time goes up because it goes by pretty quick. What's
wow.
Yeah.
That went fast. That it didn't seem like that was that long ago already. That went really fast
Yeah.
when that happened. That was a little bit of an embarrassment for the Hall,
Right.
but there's some great things going on down there, and they want to be able to showcase all of that. Just how wonderful the Hall is, and how great Canton is doing, and all the wonderful things that are going on down there. And they wouldn't have been able to in this climate.
Right. All right. So here's what's going to happen. Next year on August 5th, the Thursday, it'll be the Hall of Fame game between the Steelers and the Cowboys. Then on the 7th, it'll be the class enshrinement. There you see right there, in the class of 2021, that'll be the enshrinement of the two classes. So they're going to divide it up and do the best they can. I think they did a good job with that, and it's too bad. Mary Kay, you were at the Zoom conference today, right?
I was there, just the same place I always am for every Zoom conference.
Did you have did you get a good seat?
I did. I got a very good seat, and it was very comfortable. And yeah, it seems like I'm really ready to get out and go to some kind of a live sporting event, to cover something live, to talk to people in person. It's really just been such a weird way to have to do this job.
Yeah. Well, somebody, Kevin Stefanski, was asked about vacations, and he said, "Yeah, I want to go to the shore." Does he know we don't have shores there? Maybe a small shore or two. I wonder what shore he's referring to.
Well, I actually think they're going to the Jersey Shore. He's from the Philadelphia area. I think he and his wife are both from Philadelphia. So I would imagine that they're talking about the Jersey Shore.
Well, tell him we have a shore here. He's got to learn the area.
We do have a little shore. Yeah, we do have a shore. Even right here in Little Rocky River, we have a little shore. Exactly.
216-575-0403 is the number if you want to talk to Mary Kay Cabot. You can certainly do that. What did you learn today at that Zoom conference that you didn't know?
Well, we didn't really learn too much that we didn't know, because we've talked to him a couple of times before. He did say that Odell Beckham Jr. is 100% ready to go for training camp, that he'll be ready to roll, and that he's free and clear. Having said that, however, I really do think he'll be judicious with the amount of reps that he gives to Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. You don't want to wear those guys out too soon. There would be no reason to do that. But nice to hear that Odell is free and clear, ready to go. So that was one thing. The other thing I kind of tried to get him going on, how does he feel about Baker Mayfield hosting another Camp Mayfield over the next few weeks, which I really think that Baker was planning to do and might still be planning to do. So I tried to pin down Kevin Stefanski on how he feels about that. And all he would say is that, he's really going to emphasize player safety, that if they do something like that, that they have to social distance and do all the things that they can possibly do to make sure that they don't end up with any positive COVID tests. Because as of right now, as far as he knows, no Browns player, no Browns staffer has tested positive for COVID. And they'd like to keep it like that.
Well, it's really a tough call, because behind closed doors, he would want Mayfield to be working out in some way, shape, or form with these guys, but he knows the rules and he can't do that. So, and he's not even allowed to talk to him. Is that correct? That he can't even talk to him and say, "Hey, here's what I suggest you do"? That's above what they're allowed to talk about, right?
No, they're allowed to talk to them right now. They're allowed to give them marching orders. They're allowed to set forth expectations of what they want these guys to do over the next 5 weeks before training camp. And he has done that. He had exit meetings with guys on Zoom calls, and I'm sure during those meetings, he's telling them, "Here's what I want you to do in terms of, maybe even weight, body fat, working out, how much in your playbook." So they can really kind of dictate a little bit what they want them to do and kind of how they want them to come back. What they can't do is completely prohibit them from working out together. They can't do that. Even though the NFLPA and now the NFL have both come out and said, we do not want players working together in small groups that they organize themselves, these small team groups that have been getting together. Both sides are in agreement on that, but they can't say, no, you're not allowed to do it. They're just strongly advising them not to.
216-575-0403 is the number to call if you want to reach us on email. You can do that, reallesslevine@gmail.com. Mary Kay Cabot is with us, as she is on Thursday nights. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in earnings over the past 6 months. People are winning in record numbers, and winning is what's happening all around the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. You can follow us on Facebook. We have a new question each and every day. In the morning, we put the question on the board. You respond to it, and at night, we also respond to it and get your name on, and also taking suggestions for other questions of the day on Facebook. 216-575-0403. We'll come back. We've got linebackers to talk about. We've got other stuff, Odell Beckham and more. Mary Kay Cabot with us. More sports and less Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
We started out with this offseason teaching one way, and that's not necessarily how we ended up. And what I mean by that is the coaches have done a really good job of taking the feedback from the players and finding out what works. So early on, we had a lot of taped lectures, if you will, and we were pushing 15-minute, 25-minute videos out to the players for them to watch. Then we pivoted a little bit more to live stuff. Then we pivoted to having the players annotate on their screens. So for instance, with the offense, AVP would share a play, the quarterback would call the play, and then we'd have 5 guys drawing on the screen to make that play. So just different tools, different ways that we tried like crazy to reach these guys. The coaches did that, but as importantly, the players were so responsive to that. So I think the guys were really yearning for understanding, for getting all the information from this they could. And I was very impressed by that.
Coach, just wondering, what evidence do you have, or what sort of vibe do you have that these guys got it during this offseason, that they picked up your schemes, that they kind of put it together, and that they're ready to take it out onto the field where your offense can, have the timing that it needs, and that it looks like it's supposed to look?
I would say we've done a lot of testing. So there's certain apps that you can use, and the coaches have done various ways of putting the guys on the board, if you will, virtually. So that's how you can gauge the amount that they're learning. Now, as we all know, there's the one major part of learning is doing. So while it's true, we've installed a lot of offense and defense and then reinstalled it again and have done a nice job in the classroom. There is definitely an aspect of doing that hasn't occurred yet. But I do believe that we'll have time to do that. And we're at no disadvantage based on the other 32 clubs are in the same equal footing as us. So whatever the rules are, and that's where we're looking forward to getting the players back, where we can continue to teach, continue to build this foundation, and then get on the field, like you mentioned, and have an aspect of doing, because that does really let you sink concepts into your brain once you've physically done them.
Stefanski, the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, Mary Kay, help me out on this. You have a brand new coaching staff. You have a situation where the guys have not, a couple have coached with each other over the years, but not for a considerable amount of time. So what's better, working together where you try to install the certain things, schemes, or is it a good chance for these coaches to get to know them from other systems and say, I'd never looked at it that way. Maybe you should try it and make it better. What's the better way to go on that?
Well, I think they have been so creative during this virtual offseason program. They've had to do things to get to know each other, and that's why you've had Kevin Stefanski, doing things like the slam dunk challenge and the movie poster challenge and those kinds of things, because they had to try to get to know each other as people a little bit. Now, a lot of times you don't really get to know how a player is going to react in a situation until they're out on the field. Last year, for example, during mini camps or OTAs, we remember Baker Mayfield yelling, really kind of losing his temper when Odell Beckham Jr. didn't come back to him on a sight adjustment against the blitz. And, you don't get those kinds of things in a virtual Zoom meeting. So they've got a lot to learn about each other. But I think they've done the best job they possibly can in terms of not only installing the offensive and defensive schemes, but also trying to develop some camaraderie, trying to develop some of those bonds that you need to weather the tough times when you get into a season.
Jason Lockenfora is with CBS Sports. He talked today about Baker Mayfield and why he will bounce back. He says Freddie Kitchens is gone and a tremendous talent remains around this quarterback. I believe Coach Kevin Stefanski will keep things simple, emphasize a quick passing game, get Baker Mayfield back to getting it out fast and utilizing a lot of heavy and jumbo personnel to try to smash the opposition. Simplicity and structure are then in order for this offense to rule the day, especially in a truncated season. Stefanski will be back, and we'll get them back on track. Lockenfora was not a big booster of what the Browns have been doing the last 2 years, so this is somewhat comforting, I think.
Yeah, I think he can see what a lot of other people can see right now. And of course, they have to go out and prove it. But at least you've got a coaching staff and a front office now that are on the same page. They're speaking the same language. And even when we talk to some of the coaches, the assistants on Kevin Stefanski's staff, they're on the same page. How many times over the last couple of years, you would talk to Todd Monken and the message was different than what you would hear from Freddie Kitchens, or you would talk to Todd Haley and that was different from Hugh Jackson. And you could just tell that there was a disconnect. There was something very wrong. Well, that's not happening this year. You've got a lot of people that are all working together towards the same goal and a lot of really cool players. They've added some really interesting personalities to this football team. And I think the vibe and the chemistry in general is just so much better than it's been.
Jason Lockenfora of CBS Sports had more to say today. He's talked about Odell Beckham and the fact that he thinks he will bounce back. He's too young and driven to let an injury-marred 2019 become the norm. With so much going on in Cleveland's offense and emphasis on the run game, Beckham's value will be maximizing the opportunity. With Mayfield straightened out and Stefanski scheming it up, I see a lot of TDs in Beckham's future and some serious scheming. I see some serious yardage also being put up with yards after the catch. I think this is interesting that last year all of the national guys, they were caught up in the hype of the Browns. Now, as the offseason settled in, they came back with it, and then now they're starting to come back behind the Browns. It's almost like they overrated them last year. Now they're making up for it this year. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, I think people are very, very cautiously optimistic from a national standpoint. Now, mostly everyone that I talk to nationally believes that Baker Mayfield is going to bounce back in a big way. I think everyone can see that he will function so much better in a play action scheme. And all you have to do is look at some of the other quarterbacks that have been in this system: the Jimmy Garoppolos, the Brian Hoyers, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins. The list goes on and on. Players get into this system and they end up putting up big numbers and they fare well. So I think most people expect that to happen. But by the same token, I think people are kind of holding back a little bit before they put the Browns into the Super Bowl like they did last year.
All right, so you talk about the scheme, but how much do you credit Stefanski with, and how much do you give it to Gary Kubiak? Or don't we know till it happens?
Well, I don't think it really matters, whose name you put on it right now, as long as you can run it and you can call it. I mean, Gary Kubiak is going to run it in Minnesota. Kyle Shanahan will be running it out in San Francisco, and Kevin Stefanski will be running it in Cleveland, and others will be running it elsewhere. So I don't really think it matters quite exactly who is the guy, with the name over the door. It's just getting it called and schemed up the way they do it. And these guys, with the wide zone scheme, with the play action, with the two tight ends, the short passing game, it works. And I keep wondering when our defense is going to figure it out and catch up to it so that you don't have these huge numbers being put up week after week. But so far, it seems like there's plenty more where that came from.
The way you talk about it with on paper, basically, but the double running backs plus a couple of tight ends and the wide receivers. You got. I just picture these defensive coordinators in the hotel room the night before the game trying to say, all right, who do we stop here? If we stop this guy, they're going to come back this way. It's finally giving the opposition something to worry about that we haven't seen here in Cleveland football in a long time. You might have had it with Johnny Manziel trying to figure out what to do with him and Baker by himself, but it looks a little different now.
Right, and the good thing about this scheme is that on almost any given play, you can run out of it or you can pass out of it. So there's just a lot of ambiguity. There's a lot of confusion on the part of the defense about what you're actually going to do. And there are some very versatile players in this scheme that can help pull that off, including like a Kareem Hunt. If you have Kareem Hunt on the field, you're never sure if they're going to pass it or they're going to run it. He'll help pull off the ruse. So there's so many things that you can do out of it. And I think that Baker Mayfield he's got a high enough football acumen to pull that all off. And so do a lot of other guys on this offense. 216-575-0403 is the number to call if you have a question or a comment for Mary Kay Cabot. Now's the time to get it in. They've got 4 locations if you count the website for Northeast Factory Direct. West 140th Street near the airport, Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, and Freeway Drive, that is in Macedonia. And of course, the website is where you want to go first, northeastfactorydirect.com. Find out about all the great offers that they have. We'll come back in a moment. We'll take a look at linebacking situation. People not very high on it, but you might change your mind when we get back. More sports and less Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate NatureStone's 30-year anniversary with a free NatureStone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making NatureStone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen. For old world traditions or original experiences, From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Another quick question on Jacob. Do you have an ideal spot that you envision him playing at? I know you're cross-training everybody, but do you see him at a certain spot in your particular defense? And, you know, a guy coming out of LSU, those guys usually come out pretty ready to play some NFL football. So my question to you is, does he have a legit shot to come in here and grab one of those starting jobs?
I think right now, first of all, it is an open competition. All our guys have a chance. I mean, it's open. That's the good part about this room, and they know it. You know, BJ Goodson signed with us because he wanted a chance to compete, you know, and be able to do that. And you got Max Sione and Jacob and the other guys. Don't be mad at me, other guys, for not naming everybody at the moment, okay? But it's open, and that's what's exciting. So that's one. And then two is the guys that play, I don't want to get too much to positions or scheme or anything like that, just because we're still going to figure it out. We're building it. And the guy named the Mike linebacker just ends up in the middle of the field more than the others, where the other guys on the edges will play a little bit more in space and maybe pressure a little more. That's really the only difference. Jacob has the skill set for all of those. And that was what we wanted. We wanted football intelligence. We wanted length and speed, and that he has those. So what I mean by length is how well you're able to separate from blockers and things like that, which he's done. And he did that pretty well at LSU. Being only 21 and coming out early, he still had some things, and he's even gotten better at that in the offseason, that he can do on shedding blocks and making plays. But he was highly productive. Leading that team in tackles is a big deal. So he can really, his skill set really fits for any of the spots.
That is Jason Tarver, the head of the linebacking corps. You know, it's interesting. You get the feeling that Tarver's saying, all right, you loaded up on running backs, you loaded up on tight ends. What about me? All right, you're not going to give me anybody? I'll figure out a way to make it work, and then maybe you'll reward me with some better players next year. You get that feeling at all?
You know what? I didn't really get that feeling from him. He sounded pretty excited about the guys that he has. Now, once again, he hasn't seen them out on the field yet. He doesn't really have a whole lot to compare it to. He doesn't have much film on Sione Takitaki yet. All he has on Jacob Phillips is his college film. So there's just not a lot of body of work there in terms of NFL starts across the board for this whole entire linebacking corps. But he sounds pretty excited to sort of mold these guys and shape them into what he wants them to do. I was very impressed with Jason Tarver yesterday. It was a really cool interview that we had with him.
Well, you know,
has been
you don't hear
all these coaches.
You don't hear too much about this guy, Jacob Phillips, but he might be a guy that could surprise you. He's 6'3", 229. He missed 17 tackles and 184 attempts last year, and the last two seasons at LSU, and he led the SEC with tackles, 113 last year. It's a guy we really haven't heard that much about.
No, we really haven't heard that much about him. But I will tell you what, as I mentioned in my question there to Jason Tarver, these LSU players have a way of coming into the NFL and making some noise as rookies. A lot of them come in, they start, they're kind of ready to play. They've played at such a high level of competition. And when you look at what he's done, he did lead the SEC and the Tigers with 113 tackles last year on a championship team. That says something. The year before that, he was second on the team in tackles. So there's a consistency there. It means that he's played a lot of pretty high level football for a 21-year-old. And I think he's going to give some of these other guys a run for their money in the linebacker competition.
Well, I think what it tells you is we ought to put a direct train ride, train tracks from here to LSU, because it's a branch office of Berea.
That's right. This is, it's either the little Tigers or the big Browns down there or something is going on. But absolutely, you've got Odell, you've got Jarvis, Greedy, Williams, Jordan Elliott, Jacob Phillips, and it's definitely an LSU oriented team right now.
Right, I'd like them to go with the best Buckeye available every once in a while, though.
And wait a minute, I'm sorry, not Jordan Elliott. I meant to say Grant Delpit, the safety from LSU. I sorry about that.
Well,
That was
he
a
went
mistake.
down. He went down in the opinions of some of the drafters, and looks like he wants to make that up.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it. I mean, he won the Thorpe Award for the nation's best defensive back. And, he really believed that he was going to go in the first round. So he's got a lot to prove coming in here.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk more about the Browns linebackers. Also, there's some national guys with their low-hanging fruit trying to come up with some trades that the Browns should make. We'll bandy those names around when we get back. You can explore your interests and find a program that puts you on the right path to a bright future from Tri-C, which offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. Mary Kay Cabot and I return in a moment. More sports and less Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
This day in sports history, NBA, San Antonio Spurs wins their first NBA title, came in 1999. They defeated the New York Knicks 4-1 for that championship, first of 5 for Popovich and company down in San Antonio. Let's check out birthdays for today. 25th of June, Willis Reed. You all remember one of the great moments, him coming out of the locker room with an injured leg and brought his team on to victory at the Madison Square Garden. 1947, Stand Up was born on this date. Del Curry, of course, Steph Curry's father, played with the Cavaliers. Dikembe Mutombo, 1966. Carlos Delgado, Aramis Ramirez. A pretty good birthday day. I'd give it about a B- on the birthday charts of the day. 216-575-0403 is the number, and you can email us, of course, during the show, and that's at reallesslevine@gmail.com. Mary Kay Cabot has been covering the Browns for quite a few years and covers the NFL and the Browns just as good as anybody, no question about that. The Browns apparently are being cautioned to go after some trade topics. Let's throw a name at you with the Jaguars. The suggestion is that David Njoku gets traded for a draft pick, a second-round draft pick, and the Browns would also receive Yannick. You help me on this one. Yannick Ngake. How'd I do? Not very well.
I think it's Ngakwe is how you pronounce that.
Okay, so is that, number one, is it a trade possibility? Is it something that's going on right now? Or is it just a name to float out there and see what happens?
I think they're just kind of floating that out there right now to see what happens. But I will say this about Andrew Berry. He will explore any available really good veteran that's out there. That's why you see him going after a Jadeveon Clowney. You know, that's why you saw him looking into the Trent Williams and the Anthony Harrises of the NFL. So if there is somebody that is available, then he will at least kick the tires on it. Now, the last I checked on Yannick, a couple, probably a month and a half ago or so, I didn't seem to gauge that there was too much interest on the part of the Browns at that time. So I think this is just a speculative thing on the part of ESPN right now.
You think in Andrew Berry's case, as a first-year, very young GM, do you think he has to go out and make a splash, or has he made a splash enough with what he's got? Or is he tempted to make another move or two that maybe a veteran GM wouldn't do?
I don't think he wants to make a splash for the sake of making a splash. I think he's a very aggressive acquirer of talent. I think he is attacking this thing, and I think he's done a great job so far. And he has told us that he will aggressively pursue every single avenue to upgrade this roster. I don't think he's just trying to make splashy moves to win friends and influence people. I think he knows the name of the game. That is to win. I think he wants to bring a winner to Cleveland, and that's what he's up to.
All right, so if Njoku is traded, why trade him is the question. And Field Yates of ESPN says, while new coach Kevin Stefanski hopes to rely on the two tight end system, and the team made Austin Hooper the highest paid tight end ever, and drafted Harrison Bryant, this would be dealing from an area of strength to bolster the important position of tight end, and that needs to have some talent added to it. As far as the other potential trade, you got the 25-year-old, 4 seasons in the NFL, 41 tackles and 8 sacks in 2019, a career high of 12 sacks in 2017 when he made the Pro Bowl. He was franchise tagged, yet to sign a tender worth $17.78 million. Why would he? This looks like a guy with a pretty good resume. Why would he be on their trade list?
I think it's one of those situations where the player and the team need a change of scenery from each other. It's just one of those situations where I think he wants to be traded, and I think he wants a new situation, or there's some disconnect between the player and the team, as sometimes happens. And, the Browns have taken advantage of some of those situations in the past, like Jarvis Landry, for instance. He didn't get along at all with Adam Gase in Miami, and he came here and he's had a very nice career here. So it could be one of those situations where the grass might be a little greener for someone else. And, it's worth looking into. Again, I don't think this is something that's actively taking place right now, but, it's something worth pondering. It's something worth kind of thinking about. I don't think David Njoku is just completely expendable. I think they do want to play 2 tight ends here a lot, and sometimes even 3 tight ends. And I think the Browns think pretty highly of him. So I don't think that, it's a situation where they're looking to move him per se.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Erie, Pennsylvania, where Jack is standing by. Jack, good evening.
Good evening, Les and Mary Kay. Hope you guys are well. My question is about Vernon and Jadeveon Clowney. Mary Kay, from listening to your podcast, I get the impression that you and your colleagues feel that if the Browns were to get Clowney, that they would then release and then not have to pay, obviously, Olivier Vernon. And my question is, if Vernon has 1 year left and Clowney's only on a 1 year deal, you have the cap space to keep them for next year. Both have had injuries throughout their career. And you have an inexperienced linebacker core that they could help sort of mask, perhaps. What's the downside, other than maybe frugality on the Browns' part, to just bringing in Clowney and then keeping Vernon and having a great rotation on the D line?
Theoretically, I understand what you're saying, and originally I thought maybe they would entertain that, but now I just don't see it. I think that if they bring in Jadeveon Clowney and pay him the whatever, $17 million or whatever it's going to take to get him per year, I think if you do that, you're not going to be able to pay Olivier Vernon that much and also get ready to pay Myles Garrett almost $25 million a year or whatever that turns out to be. They got a lot of big paydays coming up to Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward, potentially Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett. I just don't think that they have it's that much of a luxury for them to be able to pay both Vernon and Clowney double-digit millions this season. I don't see it.
Anything else, Jack?
Yeah, just real quick. So then you think that they could potentially be looking at Clowney for more than a 1 year deal then?
I think they've looked at both. I think they've probably thrown out there a 1 year offer, which it's my understanding that that's a very competitive offer, and also a multi-year deal. So he kind of would sort of have his choice of how he wants to approach this if he were to come here. The multi-year deal, I believe, is the one that is either more than anybody else has offered him on a multi-year deal or right up there, very competitive with anyone else.
Jack, thank you for the call. I appreciate it very much. Mary Kay, are you as surprised as I am that Vernon is still here? I thought he was going to be long gone, maybe at the first wave of cutting players or waiving players. He's still here, and there's no reason to believe he's going to be gone. Do you feel that way?
I always thought that he probably would be gone, just from the standpoint that he is due to make $15.25 million this year, and he does have the injury history, and he's had a hard time staying on the field. So I guess I would have to say that I am mildly surprised that he's still here. But pass rushers are a premium position. The Browns value the spot. They're willing to pay for a really good one. They think he is that. And again, if Jadeveon Clowney comes on board, then I do think it's the end for Olivier Vernon. So we're going to have to see how this plays out over the next however long.
All right, more important than all that, how's your golf game this summer?
I haven't golfed that much this summer. For whatever reason, oddly enough, even though it's just everything's virtual, I'm still just working. And I really haven't had too much of an opportunity to golf. How's your golf game, Les?
Horrible. Yeah, which means it's about the way it usually is. I don't have any idea why I still play. I have no idea.
Well, we're crazy,
You got it.
It's fun.
Mary
I wish I had more time.
Mary Kay Cabot with us with the Plain Dealer and, of course, cleveland.com. Northeast Factory Direct, they've got locations all over, east, west, and south, plus the website, northeastfactorydirect.com. Alex has been doing it for 20 years, started out with a kitchen set in the garage of a small home in Lakewood, and look what he's turned it into, Northeast Factory Direct. Sokolowski's University, and they've been going at it for, about 100 years or so. Check out the website. They'll let you know what the plans are for the great Sokolowski's University. And we'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment with Mary Kay Cabot. More sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your basement is the go-to part of your home. It's your children's rec room. It's where your family and friends spend time together. It's much more than just a basement. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone basement floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive mini pearl stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot, plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's take a look at this date in Les Levine history, June 25th, 1970. The Cavaliers would begin playing in the NBA in the fall of 1970. Les didn't think they would be very popular. There was nobody in his neighborhood or his age who had a hoop in the driveway or in the garage, so he figured that very few fans would be there to draw from. I think Bill Fitch even said that. He drove around town when he got the job. 2001, this date in Les Levine history, the Braves trade John Rocker to the Indians for Troy Cameron, Steve Reed, and Steve Carsey. Carsey still owes Les a steak dinner from a bet they made on Super Bowl and on more sports in Les Levine. And it's 20 years. He should be paying up, I would think. This date goes with Tristan Thompson. Les thinks he deserves to double his salary. One, because he's one contract from the right-handed shooter and the other from the left-handed shooter. But Bud Shaw pointed out today that's true, except he's not a very good shooter for either one of them. Oh, yeah, but they shouldn't let him shoot then. In reality, they ran out of, after being an odds-on favorite to win the South Euclid Red Sox uniform number and the MVP, what happened is they just ran out of new uniform numbers. And not one rich parent agreed to chip in a couple of bucks to help out a poor guy to get a uniform number. That ever happened to you?
No, that never did.
Never. Well, just be careful. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay Cabot with us. Mary Kay, we have a Facebook question of the day today. Star power on offense, question marks on defense. Which one player do you think holds the key to a successful Brown season? Obviously the quarterback, but who else do you think needs to have a great season?
You know, I keep saying Odell Beckham Jr., and that might seem pretty obvious, but I just think if he's catching touchdown passes on a regular basis, that will translate to victories for the Cleveland Browns. He only had 4 touchdown catches last year. That's just not enough for a player of OBJ's caliber. So if you can get that up into double digits, I think that will really help this team a lot.
All right, let's take a look at what some of our people wrote in on Facebook. Andy Mees says, I'm going to go for defense on this one and say Denzel Ward must stay healthy and show the same kind of brilliance he did during his rookie campaign. Not sure what they're going to get with the rookies and the second-year players on the line in the linebacker room. Kevin Quinby says Mayfield, he can play. Tough to overcome the worst coaching hire in the century from last year. Going to be interesting to see if the rookie linebackers from last year can step it up this year. Run Chubb, best back in the league. All right, let's go back on that. Andy Mees says he needs some help from Denzel Ward. Do you agree with that, Mary Kay?
Yeah, to a certain degree. I don't know that Denzel Ward will be sort of a make or break type of situation. I think on defense, if I were to choose somebody that really needs to hit it out of the park every game, I would go with Myles Garrett, because I think he can be so disruptive on that defense. And I think he needs to be more disruptive than he's been in the past. I think he needs to take over games. I think he needs to, force more fumbles, bat down more passes, sack the quarterback even more. and just be such a dominant force on that D-line.
What do you think about getting him help on the other side of the line for that tandem?
Well, if Olivier Vernon can stay healthy, I think he can provide that. If not, I have been for going after Jadeveon Clowney, so I would definitely be for that move.
All right, 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay Cabot with us. We have a voicemail of Truth and Reason. You can contact us anytime. We, of course, do the show live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you can't get to the phones at that time, you can call and leave us a message on the voicemail of Truth and Reason, 216-200-6650. We're going to come back in a moment. One more time. I don't know if we have quickies or not. We'll check them out. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your garage is the entrance to your home. It's where your kids come in from school. It's where your family and friends gather together. It's much more than just a garage. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone garage floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive gray-brown blend stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Be tomorrow. You see Dan Lobby on the left, not the guy with the numbers, and Mandy Bell of MLB.com covering the Indians will join Dave Bacon. That'll be tomorrow night from 6 until 7. It's the weekend winter edition. And we'll be back on Monday. The D-man, Dennis Maniloff, will be here. Got a How Come Quickie. How come if foul shots were worth 2 points instead of 1, maybe some of the players would make more of them? Not sure that's the case, but it made the quickie list, as did Mr. Gullible for a couple of How Come Quickies. How come when I forgot to turn off the oven, I got Darth Vader cookies? They were on the dark side. How come a proper lawyer wears a good lawsuit to court? All right, Mr. Gullible, you got them in. Mary Kay, he's been on the edge the last couple of weeks trying to get some questionable quickies in. At least he got the non-X-rated ones, but he didn't get them funny. If you're gonna, you got to be funny, Darth Vader. I don't know.
It's progress. It's
progress. It's progress. No question about it. All right, couple minutes to go here. This normally is vacation time for everybody out of Berea. You can't get a key to the building. How much different is it going to be this year with the way the situations are? Again, these guys don't know each other. The staff, they need to know each other, plus the players. How much difference do you see in what's going on in Berea now, or will be in the next couple of weeks?
Well, I'm sure the coaches will stick around for a little while. They'll work with some players, and they'll do some things, and they'll work with each other a little bit. And then I'm sure that they'll also take a little bit of time off to kind of recharge and get ready for the season. The NFL came out today and basically said, we've told teams to be ready to go for training camp on July 28th. So despite everything that is going on with COVID-19 and all the uncertainty, the NFL is forging ahead and basically saying it's all systems go. That's how the Browns are proceeding. And I think they'll do the regular 3 weeks off and then get right back at it.
Well, there's the calendar of the events with the Cleveland Browns and the NFL. I've long figured out that the coach, whoever the coach is, when they finally get a little upset with these all these press conferences, it becomes official when Jeff Shudell asks a question and the coach just shakes his head. Has that happened yet?
No, that has not happened yet. We all don't know each other well enough for the coaches to get annoyed and irritated with some of us. That usually happens about 3 weeks into the season, although it happened right after the first regular season game last year when I asked Freddie if he was ready to give up the play calling yet. I ended up quickly in the kitchen's doghouse. So we'll see how long I last with Kevin Stefanski.
Has there been any reason to think that Kevin Stefanski's faking this whole thing? I mean, it seems to me that he's watched a lot of press conferences over the years and he's learned from some people, because there's nothing fake about it from the distance anyway.
You know, I mean, when you are a self-assured person and, you know, you've got confidence and you're smart and you have all the qualities of a leader, you don't have to fake it. You can just be yourself and it all kind of falls into place. So far, so good. Okay,
you mentioned Jadeveon Clowney just a couple of minutes ago, and he's got a pretty good shelf life. I mean, we've been talking about him for a lot of weeks here. Do you expect, whether it's him or somebody else, do you expect a free agent signing, a trade, anything big in the next 2-3 weeks?
You know, if anything, I think it would be either maybe the Myles Garrett extension or the Jadeveon Clowney signing. I mean, if anything happens in this sort of downtime now. And again, you know, Kevin Stefanski basically had exit interviews with all of his players and said goodbye to everybody. So this really is that quiet period in the NFL. But those would be two of the things that, if anything would happen, it would probably be one of those.
You know, I just think when I look at the coaching staff or I watch them or listen to them, they all seem to understand that this is such a phenomenal opportunity. You do well with the Cleveland Browns. First of all, the head coach goes down to Canton and has a statue erected. That's number one. But number two, you can make a heck of a name for yourself as any position coach moving up the ladder if you can succeed where nobody else has succeeded since the Browns came back in 1999.
Well, they would for sure get keys to the city if they can get this thing on the right track and get it rolling. And just, you know, I've seen a lot of these coaching staffs come through here. And I just have to say, I just really feel like there is something a little bit different about this one. There's something you just feel, an energy. You just feel a confidence, a quiet confidence. They're just organized. They're smart. So, even though I haven't gotten to know them personally yet in person, so far, I really like what I see, and I think Browns fans should start to get excited.
All right, Mary Kay, thanks so much. Great job as always. We'll see you next Thursday night, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. Mary Kay Cabot of the Cleveland Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. We'll see you, well, I won't see you tomorrow. I'll see you on Monday. But tomorrow, Dave Bacon will have the weekend winners. Dan Lobby will be here. Mandy Bell will be here. They'll talk Browns and Indians as the Indians starting to get ready for spring training, actually, in the month of July. Go figure. All right, I'll see you on Monday with the D-Man. We're making a switch up on Monday. He'll be here, normally he's here on Wednesday night, but it'll be Monday this week with Dennis Maniloff. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow of all the shows I've ever done. This was the most recent.